What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Philly Sports Power Hour with Bill Colarulo. Did a little Flyers talk, a little Sixers talk, unfortunately. But obviously the Philadelphia Eagles are all the headlines these days. Howie Roseman, he knows what he's doing. All the negativity surrounding this team wasn't coming from here, but you know, a lot of people, including my Power Hour crew in the chat, have been negative about this team. Well, Monday changes everything. We even have Eagles chants at the Flyers game on Tuesday night. But now we're going to bring on somebody who's been a little bit positive. Not always, but a little bit positive. My man, Mark Farzetta. What's going on, Farzy?
Well. If it isn't Billy Breaks the Internet, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, my tweet went viral yesterday.
Good Lord, man. Everywhere.
You know
everywhere.
It was everywhere. You know what's BS, though? Couple things are BS. First of all, you know this. How many people took what I said and then tried to push it off as their own? That was the first thing. But then the worst part was Sports Center. Frickin' Sports Center. 38 million followers on Instagram. Take my tweet, put it into a graphic, and at the very bottom put hat tip Bill Colarulo, and don't even tag me. Don't even tag me on the damn Instagram post.
The ridiculousness, my friend. The ridiculousness of the whole thing. Just, you know, the hat tip, I will say, is more than most get. Because you know what really drives me crazy is when there are sites, and I give credit because at least like if JAKIB Media does it, they'll say like, you know, courtesy of, or they'll put, you know, where it's from. Yeah, right. But I hate when sites just make it seem like what was said on another platform, another show, another network, whatever the case is, and they make it sound like it was theirs. And then on a much more specific level, maybe it's that journalism minor I have screaming, but it's about when they act like what was said at a press conference was said on the show, and they don't credit like said at a press conference or something like that. That to me is also annoying as hell. But you broke the internet there, Big Bills.
Big Bills in the house. So someone said today in the chat, this was pretty clever too. Well, they changed their name to Big Bills in the chat, and they said, "Don't be a silly O."
Wow, that's good. That's good. That person's clearly a father. That is that's a dad joke and a half. Yeah,
that is a dad joke. Well, listen, before we get into some of the Eagles moves, and I want to talk to you about your favorite moves and all that. Before the break, I was talking about James Franklin. So are you following this? James Franklin now saying that, yeah, Saquon told me that was Howie Roseman's sales pitch to him on the phone. They're not allowed to talk to him on the phone. So what the hell is James Franklin doing, Farzy?
So first off, excuse me, there's only a violation if Howie Roseman directly spoke to Saquon Barkley. Now, I'm going to play the role of a lawyer. And if this is the case, okay, then you're saying, hey, whoa, he didn't say he talked to. He said that was the sales pitch through Howie Roseman. So Howie Roseman could have said it to a third party or a middleman and say, if you could say anything to Saquon, if you're Howie's middleman, whatever the case may be, if you're the person that's allowed to talk, whatever, talk to the agent. Here's my sales pitch to Saquon. I'm sure you talked to the agent. Hey, here's my sales pitch to Saquon. Ready? You'll be back in PA. And then they take it to Saquon Barkley. Now, well, here's what matters. Aside from the speculation, here's what we know. The Giants seem to not give a damn. The NFL has not said they're investigating. Yeah. And the last I saw from Tim McManus, which was a story that was put out last night, I haven't seen an update to it, was that's still the case. The NFL is not investigating. And that the Giants aren't saying, now, just a second. Because I think personally, either way, even if Howie Roseman did talk to Saquon Barkley, I think the Giants want this story to die as fast as possible. They don't want to constantly remind people. Like, I think Giants fans, or the Giants as an organization, as a franchise, want their team to, or want their fan base to think nothing about this. And then when training camp approaches, Giants go, oh, damn, that's right. Saquon's an Eagle. You know what I mean? As much of that as possible, which is still next to impossible. Don't get me wrong. But I think the Giants just want this story to die as fast as possible.
And listen, we all know. I mean, the NFL knows too. DeAndre Swift literally agreed to a 3-year, $24 million contract within 12 minutes of legal tampering kicking off. There is no way that contract could have been fully negotiated and agreed to in 12 minutes. So everybody knows, come on, they're talking, they're doing things. It's kind of the unwritten rules, but you can't have a guy coming out and saying, he told me he spoke to Howie Roseman.
Yeah. So, are we? Yeah, right. Are we? Does the NFL still think we're in like the telegraph phase of communication? Like all the wires go through the NFL, and then the NFL tells the teams what the deals. Oh, this is, by the way, this is what the Bills won. This is what the Eagles won. This is what the Giants won. This is what the 49ers won. Like, is that happening? No. There are so many different. Like, are you going to check Howie Roseman's burner Instagram account? Are you going to check his burner TikTok? Like, how are you going to be monitoring all the different ways of communication? You're not. And the stupidest phrase in sports might be legal tampering.
Yeah.
Do we not know what the hell? What the hell? It's called, you know what that's called? That's called negotiating. People are negotiating. So the idea of even the Eagles in the legal tampering period, to even have a rule where during a legal tampering period, that general manager can't speak to the subject? Okay, there, sport. Whatever. That just goes to show you that there can still be really stupid things in wildly successful leagues and businesses for that part.
All right. Well, let's talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about some good stuff, not James Franklin, who can't beat Ohio State. But what was Farzi's favorite move so far? And it's still early. That's the thing I keep reminding people. We're still only a couple days in. But what's your favorite move been so far for the Philadelphia Eagles?
My favorite move. That's a great one. It's been busy over the last week. I mean, it's so surface level. It's. I mean, I just love the idea of Saquon Barkley being in that backfield. I have admired Saquon Barkley and said from a talent standpoint, not production, because that's based on a whole other bunch of variants. It's why, like, when people say numbers never lie, I always say, but they sure as hell can deceive. Like, Saquon Barkley's numbers his rookie year were incredible. And then there's been a bit of a dip. Also, the offensive line has been trash in New York. He's had 3 different head coaches, so not exactly a stable environment and not a real threat, throw the ball when it comes to a guy like Daniel Jones, okay? So it hasn't been great in New York. Now, people say that he's 27 years old, blah, 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 how much does he have left in the tank? He's got plenty left in the tank, but from afar, I've watched Saquon Barkley, and from a talent standpoint, I have said this is one of this isn't a hot take. I think most people believe this. He's one of the best backs in the league. I think he is a top 3 at worst, maybe top 2 going into this season. I think Derrick Henry is going to hit a wall. I don't think he's going to see the same production that he saw when he was in Tennessee. And I think it's him and Christian McCaffrey as the best all-around running backs in the NFL. And I think it's him and Christian McCaffrey. They're going to have the best all-around seasons in the upcoming 2024 NFL season. So that's what I look forward to. And I think he's got plenty left in the tank. I talked to Pat Leonard, is the guy that broke the story. When Pat Leonard broke the story last week from the New York Daily News, when he broke the story about the Eagles being interested in Saquon Barkley, and I told Pat this, I said, I'm sorry, I didn't see that it was you that reported it initially. I saw the headline, and my first thought was, that's cute. I don't believe it, but that's cute. The Eagles are trying to drive up the price for a possible return to the Giants, maybe for the Cowboys, maybe for the Texans, whatever the case may be. And then I got a chance later in the day to click on the story, and I was like, oh, this is Pat? Oh, well, okay. So I clicked, I know Pat a little bit, and I clicked on the story, and I read it, and I just went, this just to me says he talked to a credible source. I would say, someone with the agent probably, and maybe even Saquon himself, and said that the Eagles are interested. Okay. So that's still what they went out there. Then Eskin reported it. Then that clown, Mike Lombardi, he reported it like an hour or 2 before it happened. And I went, I still don't believe it. I'm not going to believe it until I see Cam Jurgens running down the field and 15 yards behind him is Saquon Barkley. You know what I mean? I'm not going to believe it until then. And I'm going to go ahead and say that's a lie because I now believe it because it's obviously happening. That is my favorite move. The move that I would say is my most curious, though, just to give you this as well, the Bryce Huff thing is very interesting to me. Very interesting to me. He's had one good. He's had all the potential. He's had a lot of promise and confidence from the Jets fan base, who are flipping out that they've lost him. But he's had one really good year. He's faced adversity throughout his entire playing career, from high school, where he banged up his shoulder, college, to not getting invited to the combine, not getting invited to the Senior Bowl.
Not drafted?
Undrafted. Yeah. Essentially having to sit on the bench for almost 2 years, right? And then he comes out and he has this breakout season with 10 sacks. And this is putting him in a position to have success given his skill set, which is pass rush. So now he's going to be a full-time edge rusher, D-end, whatever you want to call it, in this Eagles defense. They used wide 9 a lot in New York with the Jets. That's something that Robert Saleh really was using. Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic covers the Jets, was on the show this morning, and he had talked about how that's really what they like to do, and they don't like the blitz. Yeah. So he's going to be coming into a situation here in Philadelphia under Vic Fangio where it's going to be a similar case. The wide 9 of Vic Fangio, I want to see how that all meshes together, if it does here in Philly, but it certainly lends itself to the belief that with Bryce Huff, you're going to be doing it. And then on top of that, how is he going to do when you decide to put him in there on plays? The offense is going to be looking to run the ball. How is he going to perform in what I have been referring to as a great promotion? In every job you get, you work hard at this level, you perform well, you should get that promotion. This is that next level up. How will he fare in that case? So very curious about Bryce Huff, very confident and excited, and absolutely love the move to bring in Saquon Barkley to this offense. And I'll use one more quote from Pat Leonard about Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is out for blood. He's out for blood. That's a quote.
That's the exciting thing. I mean, it looks like he is motivated, and that's why Tiki Barber, keep tweeting at him, man. Keep doing it. Keep getting this guy fired up. So I'm expecting big things from Barkley as well. But to your point about Bryce Huff, because you make a lot of good points there, the New York Jets last year, 31st in the NFL as far as blitz rate. So you're right. They do not blitz a lot, similar to what we're going to see from Vic Fangio. Now, I'm excited about the Bryce Huff move because he's a pass rush specialist, because you can look at all the stats. He's up there with some of the best in terms of pass rush. But to me, I only really like the move if they keep Hassan Reddick. What I don't want to see is them trade Sweat, trade Reddick, and now your 2 starting edge rushers are Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith, because now I'm thinking, well, I'm not sure if we're a better defense. What do you think happens with Sweat and Reddick?
Reddick is back, restructured deal. Sweat is traded.
I'm spot on with you, man. That's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm hoping.
Well, Bill, again, you're a brilliant man.
Me and Farzy.
Simpatico. Right, look at this. But when it comes to Josh Sweat, younger, more of an upside there, not going to cost you as much money. The draft capital that you could get in return isn't, doing cartwheels or anything like that, but it's still good. I would absolutely love to see what you could have in Reddick on one side, Bryce Huff, who could play both sides. I'd love to see what you have with that, and then whatever Josh Sweat could bring you in this upcoming draft. That to me screams Howie wowing all of Philadelphia. That is something that, look, the money, it's amazing. The acquisitions are great. But in terms of winning trades, I think that's something that Howie Roseman still has yet to shine, show the shine of in this offseason. The acquisitions are great. Signing free agents is great. Bringing in coordinators, great. But when it comes to pulling off a trade that makes you go, oh, damn, Howie, that's the one Howie trick he still has up his sleeve. And I'm looking forward to see how that goes on draft day. I'm looking forward to see how that goes with Josh Sweat. And maybe, possibly, why not? Let's get greedy, Bill. Let's get greedy. What they do with James Bradbury. Not that greedy. Whoa, greedy, but also reasonable. I mean, let's not get crazy here. Linebacker. Okay. If the Eagles bring in a running back and a linebacker, like a starting, proven commodity linebacker in the same offseason, I think that's just when Philadelphia implodes. I think that's when we just sink, below the Delaware River. I think that's where we go. But I do think, not happening.
I do think when you look at the linebackers who are still available on the free agent market, for me, if they're going to bring somebody in here, it's probably going to have to be via a trade. I know some people are still floating the Devin White idea. I don't think Devin White has played well at all in his NFL career. We're still holding on to what he did at LSU and that he was a top 5 overall pick. He has not played well in Tampa Bay. He played next to one of the best linebackers in the NFL in Levante David, and he still couldn't play that well. So I don't want to see them sign Devin White. Wow. I think they have to make a trade. I don't know who would be available, but what I'm hoping is when we talk about Howie being Howie, trade Josh Sweat, pick up some more draft capital, and then take whatever picks you have and let's make a big move for a linebacker. Let's make a splash. Because Farzy, right now, it's Nakobe Dean, Ben Van Sumeren, and Zach Bond that they just signed from the New Orleans Saints. That can't be all they do at linebacker. It can't.
Who has started 14 games in 4 years. So also not a brag when it comes to Zach Bond. That's also, when you described Devin White, that's also exactly what the Eagles are looking for at the linebacker position. I'm not making a joke. That is the joke. That's just what the Eagles have done with a linebacker position, unfortunately. But where I was going earlier with the chance of another trade is, I don't know how they do it. James Bradbury. James Bradbury is not. He's playing.
What are you going to get for him? Because you're really just trying to, you're trying to get out from underneath that contract. But here's the problem is, if they do trade Bradbury, I think it's got to be post June 1st so that you could get some cap relief. Because if they do it pre-June 1st, it actually will cost them more money in dead cap space. So, I mean, I guess you could structure it in a way where it's kind of a post-June 1st trade. But who would make that trade, Farzy? Who in their right mind would give up anything of value to take on that contract?
No one right now. But then Howie works his Howie magic and somehow magically gets another team to agree to give like a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
Because look, what you're acquiring essentially then with that trade is whoever the Eagles take at corner in the 1st or 2nd round of the upcoming draft. That's what you're acquiring. And also giving not all the keys in the castle, but one of the keys to the castle to Keely Ringo to play opposite Darius Slay. And again, the opportunity for whoever the Eagles draft, because I do think, here's as nuts as I'll get with you as far as linebacker goes. 1st round, I think they go corner, and yes, of course, that depends on how the chips fall. 2nd round, I think that's where they kick the tires on a linebacker. I think they could go as high as the 2nd round to bring in somebody, because that's where you're going to have most likely Edgerrin Cooper available. That's most likely we're going to have Jeremiah Trotter Jr. available. That is in that same early 2nd round, mid 2nd round. You could see those guys go there.
So. And I would be completely on board with them drafting a linebacker. I really would like to see them do that. But for me, even if they were to use their number 1 pick, which they're not going to do, but even if they were to use their number 1 pick on a linebacker, I still think you need somebody who's been proven in this league, because I don't see how you go into this season with Nakobe Dean, who's still a question mark. We haven't seen him do it yet. Whoever rookie was that you drafted would be a question mark. There's no guarantee that the game translates to the NFL level. And then you'd have Ben Van Sumeren. Now, I see some people talking about the move that Howie made with the Detroit Lions. What's his name? Aquara.
Oh,
he's an edge. He's not a linebacker. He's an edge rusher. And Zach Bond, even though he has the ability to play off-ball linebacker, they're also going to probably utilize him off the edge as a pass rusher. So how do you go into a season with a rookie linebacker, Ben Van Sumeren, and Nakobe Dean? That can't be all you do at the linebacker position, even if they use the 22nd overall pick on one.
I'll set a bar for you. I'm going to even give the bar a name. All right? Zach Cunningham. That's the bar.
Granted, he did say he liked him too. He said he played well. Could he be coming back?
Unrestricted free agent now, so anybody else could sign him. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of, behind the scenes deal of, all right, look, bring whatever deal you get, bring it to us. We maybe we'll match, maybe we'll go over. Doubt it, but just Keith, let us know. They'll be tracking that situation because I know they did like him. It's a matter of whether or not Vic Fangio likes him. Last time I was on the show with you, we talked about Andrew Van Ginkel. He's not a middle linebacker, but he's a guy that I know was on the radar of Vic Fangio. So that, to me, will be something that they monitor as far as a guy like Zach Cunningham goes. Even though they let him be an unrestricted free agent, they could still maybe work out some other kind of deal if nothing else really catches on in the next couple of months. Plus, I also don't think teams are going to be chomping at the bit for Zach Cunningham. So I think he'll be available.
Although I wouldn't have expected the Buffalo Bills to swoop in and sign Nick Morrow on the first day of free agency.
Good point. Yeah.
So who knows? And that one was a surprise because you remember the Eagles cut Morrow in training camp. Nobody picked him up. They were able to add him to the practice squad, but he played better than we all anticipated. Well, let's talk about another move Howie Roseman made, bringing back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I said earlier on the show, I know some people are worried because it hasn't been made official yet. I've talked to some people who said it's just because he hasn't been able to get here. He'll be here this week.
Just made, literally just happened. When I just looked at my phone, just made official.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's what I was told. Don't worry about it. It's going to be official. So that's good. What do you think of that move? Do you like the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson move?
Yeah, I do. I like it. I'm not, again, it's not like a cartwheels move. It's not a blow away move type of thing, but it's a good move. One of the things that really intrigues me about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is, and I've said this before, if you've heard me say this before, I apologize, but I think it's a good point because I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is the perfect example of this. Of all the things that were said about Vic Fangio in Miami, of all the things that were said after the fact, one thing that was said on Hard Knocks, in-season Hard Knocks, that I found very interesting is one of the things that seemed pretty universal with the Dolphins was the acceptance of freedom. If you understand Vic Fangio's scheme and you get comfortable in Vic Fangio's scheme, especially if you're a corner or a defensive back in general, including the safeties, then you understand the freedom you're going to have in the defense. Having watched Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, even in a Fangio-esque scheme with Jonathan Gannon, I think he has a really good handle. He has a really good handle on what he can do with that freedom in this type of scheme. Whether it's going to be get back, be the deep man for the ball, whether it's going to be to jump a route, whether it's going to be to come down to the box on the rare occasion, you dial up a safety blitz, you bring him in the box to defend against the run. He understands the level of freedom, the boundaries that freedom has in a Vic Fangio-esque scheme. That's what I learned about him when he was here in Philadelphia. And then hearing people talk about the Miami Dolphins, hearing the Dolphins players talk about that freedom, the first person I thought of when I heard that was, CJGJ. The second thing I thought about was, he thinks we're all obnoxious and we're a bunch of effers is the name. It's never happened, Bill. Maybe you can remember. I can't remember. I can't remember a time where on his way out, a player went from like, loved for ripping Jonathan Gannon, like he did, and we were all on the same page there, to then calling all of us a bunch of effers and obnoxious people in Philadelphia, and then coming back.
Now, being loved.
Like, are we going to love him, or are we just happy he's not like Terrell Edmonds or Justin Evans?
You know what's funny, though, is, too, if you watch the video of when CJ called the Philly fans obnoxious and I hate him, it was so kind of like nonchalant. He's playing a video game. He's just talking on the live stream. He's like, so obnoxious. I hate those people. Whatever he said. And it was like so real because it wasn't like it was at a press conference or even on a podcast trying to say something to get clicks. It was like, that's truly how he felt. But hey, he apologized. He's back. I like the swagger he also brings to this defense, something I think they were missing last year. But I'm of the opinion this also can't be the only move. I don't like going into this season with just Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship because your boy, Sidney Brown, who we all love, I love Sidney Brown too, he's not going to be healthy with the ACL tear. So do you think they'll do something else at safety as well?
They have to. I don't know if it's going to be a headline move. It's going to be a roster, a depth move.
Yeah.
There's going to be some veteran available before training camp. Just before training camp, and they'll go, okay, let's try this guy out, see how he does. That's the way that's going to go. Hey, real quick question for you. You mentioned the gaming thing. If you were to play one video game live online with people, like people are watching you, what video game would it be?
Madden, man.
Really? You go Madden?
I was never the what do they even call it? Like the first-person shooter type games and all that. I only ever played growing up. I was only into the sports games. I loved Madden. I loved NHL. I loved the NBA games. I used to love but I always just played the sports games, and I loved Tiger Woods. You remember PGA Tiger Woods?
Oh my God! Wait! With hold on, with DMX in the intro.
Yeah, that was such a good game, dude. I never got into any of the other like first person shooter games or the Call of Duty games or any of that. I could never get into them.
Oh yeah, the Tiger Woods. You just put me in the way. Wow, my mom. What are you playing? Golf? y'all gonna make me lose my mind. And it's like, anyway, yeah, I would be
in college, Farzy. In college, we had in my fraternity house, we had a book where we would literally keep like everybody's record of Madden. It was pretty intense, dude. It was pretty intense.
That's what you're doing when you're not giving battlefield tours at Gettysburg. Is that the deal?
That's right, man. I playing football too. You had to host a lot, so I always had to host, recruits and stuff, and take them around, and put on the this is a great school type deal. The crazy thing was though, the funniest one was my coach comes to me. He says, "Listen, this kid, he's local. He's from the South Jersey, Philadelphia area. We really want him. I'm going to give him to you because I was a good host." And then 10 minutes in, we find out that I used to hook up with his girlfriend. Not a great tour. That kid ended up not coming. I had to tell the coach, I'm like, look, I'm sorry, man. I did my best, but I hooked up with his girlfriend before, so that wasn't a good one. Yeah. But we digress. We're digress. What's your video game?
NHL Hockey 96. Done.
Oh, that was a good one.
NHL Hockey, yeah.
What about the one where they would bleed? Is that the one where they would bleed on the ice?
NHL Hockey 95. You'd make somebody's head bleed. 96 was much more into the finesse. The movie Swingers made that video game very popular. I think in the video game, though, they played 95. The movie came out in 96. I think they played 95. There was fighting in 94.
94 was a great one.
94 was probably the best one ever. The one I was better at, though, because you could get more in on slap shots, was 96. Wow, I am such a nerd.
That's
but you could get more
one-timer and stuff, right? 96, 97, the one-timers would work.
Yeah, they really, and then, the 94, 95, all the ways to score goals worked in 96, but there were more ways to score goals in 96. That's what I remember. This is the analysis people want. I'm sorry I brought it up. But yes, that's the game. Thank you, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, for making me think of that.
Yeah. All right. Before I let you out the door, though.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the next move? I mean, what do you think is going to be the next thing we see happen? Let me ask you this. Instead of maybe even a new player, we saw Landon Dickerson get extended. We saw Jake Elliott get extended. There's a couple other players who are entering their fourth year who are eligible, the big names, Devontae Smith and Milton Williams. Do you think those guys get extended?
So Devontae could play this year on the same contract, but it'd be like that lame duck year, kind of, as you would talk about it with a coach, right?
Well, they could give him a fifth-year option. So he would
pick up the fifth-year option, yeah.
Yeah, so he would actually be under contract for the next two. They have until May 2nd, I believe, to exercise that fifth-year option.
I'm going to go with Milton Williams because it's not going to be really expensive. They still need depth at that spot, especially with Fletcher Cox going down. The defensive tackle isn't screaming at you in the draft. The position itself isn't screaming at you in the upcoming draft like it is for the corner or wide receiver. So, yeah, I think Milton Williams might be the next contract that comes out. And it'll be just enough to buy a riding mower.
Another lawnmower.
Yeah, that's about it. I
think you're right, too, because he is entering the last official year. Devontae, they want to get that done, but they still have some time. Hold on, check this out. So John Monroe, we played each other in college, but he says, remember Blades of Steel? That was a good one. It was hits the pass. Hits the pass. Do you remember that? Hits the pass.
I remember hits the pass, hit the pass, hits the pass. And then I remember it was the only game
where if you lost the fight, you went into the penalty box.
You lost the fight, you went into the penalty box. And I remember, and now we were a strict Sega household. Okay. So Blades of Steel was Nintendo. Okay.
Blades of Steel was Nintendo. That's
correct. Nintendo. Two things I remember: hit the pass, the fight, you lose, you go to the penalty box. But the other thing was, it was the only hockey game that was like a hockey game, legit. It wasn't like a hockey fighting game where it was like they actually included hockey, where you could start the game and practice fighting. If I remember correctly, it was the only game that you could go on, and you didn't even have to play hockey. You could just be like, "Do you want to practice fighting?" And we're like, "Yeah," and you just practice fighting. That's it. You would select practice fighting.
What I remember about Blades of Steel was when it was tied, you would go to that awesome shootout.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't be able
to skate camera angles.
You would just stand there and shoot, and the goalie would have to do it. And then also, do you remember when it would go to intermission on the Jumbotron? Sometimes you could play games on the Jumbotron during intermission. Yeah. But yeah, dude, that was a great game. Hits the pass.
Hits the pass. Oh God, the voices we had in the early days of That wasn't 16-bit, but that was a great game. Yeah,
dude, we may need to do a whole show just on old video games because here's another one that I loved. NBA Jam. He's on fire.
Oh,
remember that one?
Boom shakalaka. Is it the shoes? Yes. Oh my goodness.
What a game.
When I was on the radio, I talked to the guy that did the voice.
Really?
And that guy apparently makes I think it's a killing now on Cameo. Because I'd pay for that. I'd pay $50 for that guy to be like,
such good games.
It's Mark's birthday. He's on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Who wasn't
from downtown?
There was a couple people who wouldn't allow themselves to be in that game. Was Barkley one of them? Like, I can't remember. Didn't we have like terrible players? Because remember, you would only have 2 players in the original.
Oh, yeah. I think it was, I think Clarence Weatherspoon and Jeff Hornacek.
Yes.
Who also
was in it. Yeah.
What was because they were my favorite. It's because of that game and because of the first Sixers game I ever went to. Those guys were the stars. Jeff Hornacek and Clarence Weatherspoon. Oh man, the Miami Heat were really good in that game. Tim Hardaway and Chris Mullen
were they
tearing up pretty well.
What team was that? Was that the Magic?
No. The Tim Hardaway and Chris Mullen. That was the Warriors.
The Warriors. That's correct. Yes, Chris Mullen. Yeah, of course. I think I would always be Phoenix because I loved. But see, now I'm mixing the two together because I had NBA Jam and then I got NBA Jam Tournament Edition. So NBA Jam Tournament Edition was a little bit different because there was more players on that one.
Okay. Man. Well, Barkley, I think was on. I think Barkley was on with Thunder Dan Marley. Yeah.
Dan Marley was like my favorite player back in the day. I love
Dan
Marley.
What? Here's another. Oh my God, it's almost too much nostalgia, but I'm going to do it to you. Dan Marley reverse dunk on Rockin' Jock.
Yes, Yes, I remember that because they would have when they would mix the celebrities in, right?
Yeah,
and they would have. That was awesome.
Oh man,
we're digressing here.
No, this is all good stuff. Howie ain't talking about this. Come on.
No, he's not. Howie Roseman may be on the cover of Madden this year, from what I hear.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to brag, but I once interviewed Howie Roseman about Madden ratings. Because I asked the hard-hitting questions. Yeah. He said, when GMs get Madden ratings, I'll care about Madden ratings. I said, that's a good point. Tim Hardaway, Alonzo Mourning. That was another one. Yeah.
That was a good one.
There you go.
All right, Farzy. I appreciate you, my brother. Hopefully I'll see you next week.
Yeah, I think we covered all the bases. Yeah.
I think we covered them all. And I got to get ready. I'm doing another show after this. We're doing a special Legal Hands to the Face free agency show. So I'm going to take a bathroom break before we jump on for another hour.
Fair enough, brother. No. All right, man. Thanks.
I appreciate you, man. Have a good weekend. Mark Farzetta joining the show, our Thursdays with Farzy, which are always fun. But, man, talking some video games. Blades of Steel. NBA Jam was on Sega. Now, I said I only played sports games. The one game I did love on Sega Genesis, though, was Mortal Kombat. Get over here. The original one. What was the blood code? ABA, CABB? Was that the blood code for the original Mortal Kombat? It's crazy you remember stuff like that. I think it was ABA, CABB was the original Mortal Kombat blood code. Anyway. So, Crawley's saying extend me. Well, I'll be here for another hour, man. We're going to come right back at 11 o'clock for the Legal Hands to the Face free agency show. So stay tuned. But let's take a